Welcome back to Decode Healthcare with Harshal. Now, if you were hanging out with us for part 25, you'll remember we spent some time decoding the somewhat tricky rules surrounding impending or threatened conditions. But today we have a massive mission. We are cracking wide open Section IB12 of the CMS official guidelines. We're going to answer a foundational question that absolutely trips up beginners and honestly even veterans alike. And that question is, can you report the exact same diagnosis code multiple times on a single claim, or is doing that going to cause an immediate system rejection? It's a huge operational question, and in today's explainer, we're getting the definitive answer.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with the rule against duplication, then we'll look at the multiple sites trap, figure out how to navigate bilateral conditions, and finally talk about preventing those dreaded claim rejections.
So, kicking things off with Section 1, the rule against duplication. When it comes to medical coding, the CMS ICD-10 CM official guidelines sit at the very top of the food chain. They strictly override any textbook you might be reading, no exceptions. And the rule here is brilliantly simple and absolute. Each unique ICD-10 CM diagnosis code may be reported only once for an encounter. I want you to think of the medical billing system like a series of really complex locks, and your diagnosis codes, those are the keys. The whole system is built entirely on unique values. If you have the master key that satisfies the medical necessity for a specific condition, you only need to turn that key once, literally just once. One unique diagnosis code fully satisfies the medical necessity for that specific condition for the entire encounter. You don't need to keep turning the key over and over again.
And just to quickly anchor us in the right terminology here, let's look at the word encounter. According to the CMS guidelines, an encounter is a term that gets used interchangeably across all healthcare settings. So whether your patient is crashing in a hospital admission bed for an entire week, or they're just popping in for a quick 15-minute outpatient clinic visit, this duplication rule strictly applies. The setting absolutely does not change the law.
All right, moving right along to Section 2. Let's talk about the multiple sites trap.
Now that rule sounds pretty straightforward, right? So you might be wondering, how do coders actually break it? Well, picture this. Imagine a patient comes in with severe atopic dermatitis, and it's on their chest, their back, and their arms. As a coder, your brain immediately goes into overdrive, thinking, oh man, I need to make sure the claim reflects the severity and the location of all these distinct body parts.
And this brilliantly illustrates the trap. On the left side of your screen, you can see the classic structural error. A coder tries to enter the exact same code, let's say L29 for atopic dermatitis, on line 1 for the chest, line 2 for the back, and line 3 for the arms on their digital claim form. But boom, the system flashes a yellow highlight and pulls them right back. Why? Because of the rule we just talked about. Look over at the right side. You list code L29 exactly once at the top. That single unique code entry covers the diagnosis for the entire encounter, completely regardless of how many sites the skin condition actually covers. You have to report each unique code only once.
Which brings us to Section 3, navigating bilateral conditions.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the once-per-encounter rule handles paired organs or bilateral structures when the codebook itself lacks a specific lateral code. The CMS rule explicitly dictates our action based entirely on code specificity. Let's imagine an anatomical model where a patient has identical osteoarthritis in both their left and right wrists. Picture both wrists glowing with the condition simultaneously. If the specific code you choose doesn't actually distinguish between left and right, meaning there's literally no built-in left/right specificity in the book, you follow row 2 on this table. You report that single unspecified code exactly once. You do not list it twice just to represent the left and the right sides. Nope. One code box, one green check mark. That single entry covers both joints for that entire encounter.
Okay, let's wrap this up with Section 4, preventing claim rejections.
Let's zoom out from the codebook for a second and look at the real-world operational impact of this. Because trust me, ignoring this rule isn't just some minor academic mistake. It's a massive structural billing error that costs facilities a ton of time and money. Here is the actual life cycle of a rejected claim when you break this rule. Step 1, a duplicate code slips onto the claim layout. Step 2, an electronic health record system or the clearinghouse's front-end edits immediately triggers an automated error log that basically yells, duplicate diagnosis code rejected on line 2. Step 3, the entire claim freezes dead in its tracks. It cannot proceed to the payer. And step 4, a biller has to manually go in, delete the duplicate code to create a clean single code submission and then reprocess the whole thing. By inserting the exact same key multiple times, you literally jam the system lock and unnecessarily delay the entire revenue cycle. So the crucial point to take away from all this is right here. The CMS guidelines are your absolute ultimate authority. You must report unique codes only once per encounter. If a single condition covers multiple sites, one code. If it covers bilateral joints but the code book lacks laterality, still just one code. Following this simple, elegant rule is exactly what prevents those automated clearinghouse rejections and keeps your claims clean, moving, and compliant.
And that completely wraps up our explainer on section IB12. Be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your fellow coders. Up next in part 27, we are going to tackle section IB13, laterality, where we look at the exact opposite scenario. We'll be navigating the system when codes do have built-in options for left, right, and bilateral structures. But until then, I want to leave you with this to think about. How much delayed revenue is currently sitting in your facility's clearinghouse, completely frozen, simply because a coder turned the exact same key twice? See you in the next one.